if you're working out at home and you realize you're not sure about a certain move, that's why we have 2 News fitness expert Wes Cole here to answer your questions. Good morning, Wes. And so I do that a lot. I work out at home. I'm not sure what I'm doing, and that's why maybe we shouldn't always work out at home. But here's a question. A trainer told me stretching is overrated. Is this true? It's from Jess.
Well, actually, it is very true. And in fact, it's so true. A lot of the major health organizations are actually changing their stance on stretching. We once thought that stretching really prevented injury. Science is showing otherwise, showing that it really makes little difference, and more people often hurt themselves stretching than they actually, prevent injury. And one of the reasons is because people look at stretching as a warm-up. They immediately, especially when it gets colder, they go down and they start stretching. Sometimes they help each other stretch, and stretching isn't really defined as a warm-up. A warm-up is defined as light aerobic activity lasting anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. It's okay to stretch, but you have to warm up first. So what I mean by that is you have to kind of break a sweat and elevate the muscle temperature. You can't stretch cold muscles, and if you do that, you're going to really be hurting yourself. But as far as preventing injury, there's not a whole lot of studies really backing that. I still think you should still stretch, but just make sure you're a little sweaty and you're a little warmed up before you do it, especially when the weather starts getting colder. It's going to start getting colder. If you drop down and start stretching cold muscles, like right before you run, you're going to kind of hurt yourself. Maybe a light little jog first.
Some jumping jacks?
Maybe some jumping jacks, kind of get the muscle temperature up, and I guarantee that'll help.
Wow, that's a good tip. I didn't realize that. I always go stretch right away, and that's
good to know. And I learned that in school too, that stretching was really great, but things are all constantly changing, and it's kind of pointing in the direction maybe stretching is it's a little overrated.
Interesting. And our next question is, what's the best piece of home fitness equipment? This one's from Terrell.
Well, if you've read my book, I'm not a big fan of working out at home. I tell people all the time that, and for some people they might be able to pull it off, but I think that working out at home is a real bad environment, especially for a beginner, because we go home to relax and to unwind. There's a lot of distractions. I'm a real believer in getting out of your house to work out, whether it's a gym, even if it's just running around the block. I think you have to get out of it. Now, some people, they have the mentality where they can do that. I highly recommend, especially if you're new to exercise, something that's lower impact. Elliptical trainer, maybe a cycle, something like that. That's something that's not really hard on your joints. But before you go out and you drop, a lot of money on it, consider maybe some group training classes at the Y. If you look at the statistics on how long, people last on a workout program, even if you sign up at the Y for maybe $30 a month and you quit, at least you're not going to be out a couple $1,000, and you're going to have a beautiful, elliptical that you're going to be using as a coat rack.
And so basically the bottom line is probably don't get that treadmill then.
Don't get that. And I'm a big believer, before you commit and spend a lot of money on a treadmill, see if you can, stick with a group training class for a couple months at a local, fitness facility. And then if you're real stuck on it, then maybe you can drop some money, but just be careful.
All right. Our last question today are, lunges are hard on my knees. Is there another exercise for my lower body? This one's from Jill.
Well, a lot of women especially, they really like to work, their buns area. They all want the buns of steel, but lunges can be real hard on your knees. This is a great exercise called butt lift. And basically all Beth's doing is she's coming down, it gives you the same effects, really working the posterior part, you're really getting your glutes, you're really getting your hamstrings. But like I said, it just takes a tremendous amount of stress off your knees. Probably 3 or 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps. This is something that you can do in your living room in front of the TV. It's a real kind of a low impact exercise, and I guarantee you'll really feel it in your glutes, and you won't feel it in your knees. Thank you, Beth. It's a great exercise.
Yeah, and it is hard. Lunges are hard on your knees too, so I didn't realize you could get that same benefit without doing that.
Sure, and a lot of people say, oh, lunges are so much better, but they're not better if you can't do them. So, the idea, especially when you have to realize that if something hurts your body, there's always 100 other different exercises that work the same muscle group that'll give you the same benefit. Everybody's a little bit different. We're all built differently. Some exercises that maybe work for you, they might hurt me. I always tell people discomfort's to be expected, but pain's a great thing. It's telling your body that you're doing something wrong. So if you're hurting, try to find another exercise.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Wes. We always appreciate having you. If you have a question you'd like Wes to answer, just go to the weekend morning section of our website, kjrh.com, click on the habitual health link, or you can call Wes at 749-0960 or visit his gym just east of Sheridan.